There must be something behind the scenes here that we do not see. So I start researching. After all, they tricked me into believing their lies. Maybe they're lying to everyone. And I find all these things. And I find the secret this and the secret that. And I have access to some books that nobody else had access to. Through my father-in-law, when he died, I got a lot of books. But I'll tell you a little story. Before he died, he knew he was dying. And he was weak. And he had all these books, and he had to take them back to the esoteric societies before his death. But he wasn't capable of carrying them, and he was stressing about it. So he asked me whether I would help him just take books to a certain place. And there were heavy boxes of books. So I asked my son to come and help me. I didn't know where we were going. And he didn't tell me, so we took all these boxes of books, and we went to a place called the Sun Temple. And when we walked into the Sun Temple, I said, ooh, we're in an esoteric temple. And this was the place where the channel of Africa lived. Every continent has a channel. And that channel receives information from the boss. Thanks. And that information is disseminated to the rest of the world. And as I walked in there, it was in a triangular shape. It had a purple carpet and it had a pulpit. And the pulpit said, Age of Aquarius. And there were speakers from the top, and there were fantastic tables all around, and really posh. And we brought the books there, and my father-in-law thought, well, bring them in and we'll go out. And then this channel was chatting to my father-in-law. My father-in-law was a bit uncomfortable and embarrassed, and I still said to my son, pray, we're on the devil's ground. And then the channel of Africa came to me and said to me, are you the son-in-law? And I said, yes. And he assumed I was an insider. And so he started showing off. And he said, come, let me show you around. And I said, okay. And we went, and I played along, and he showed me his library, and then he showed me letters written to presidents and prime ministers of countries with answers from them about esoteric information and how it should be implemented in government and all of these links. And I was getting all the info I wanted. And as we left there, my father-in-law said something I won't repeat, and then he said, you milked him. And yes, I did milk him. So this is not a conjecture. This is not a conjecture. And anyway, while I was... am I talking too much here? All right. So behind the scenes, channels were communicating. He also showed me who attends his meetings. High government officials, high sports officials, and high medical officials. The highest of them all. Those were all the ones that were involved that would come to the seance meeting to receive channeled information as to what had to happen in every single one of those fields. This is first-hand information. I didn't look for it. It came my way. All right? When once I was in a hurry, and he was very sick, and I ran into his house once, and the stepmother was there, and I ran in there without prayer. Now before I had no problem, access to all of this, I was part of that world, but I was now a Seventh-day Adventist. And I went into that house, not thinking, being busy. You know, we're always busy, and I didn't pray. And I thought, I've been in that house many times with them. They used to be on the same wavelength as I. I went into that house. She was in her room in audience, so she couldn't come out immediately, and I went in without praying. And I was still irritated. I had to get out there and do something, and I had to get something from her. And next minute, something hit me in the side here. And I went down like a ton of bricks in her kitchen. And I was writhing in pain on the floor. I couldn't breathe. I couldn't move. I was absolutely paralyzed with pain. And then I heard her finishing up, and I prayed. I said, God, please forgive me. I went in here without praying. That's presumption. But please, for the honor and glory of your name, don't let her see me like this. I couldn't get up. I couldn't move. And then our door opened, and she was starting to come down the passage, and I said, God, please let me get up. Please, I don't want her to see me like this, not for my sake, but for your name's sake. And just before she got into the kitchen, I could get up. I was still in pain, but I could hold my pose and pretend I didn't have pain. Don't think this is just some airy-fairy story. This is a real war. This is a real war. And I said to God, God, there is so much deception out there. How do these things link together? How do these secret societies link together? And I got all these heavy documents from all these Masons, and I don't want any of you ever to read them. They are satanic. They are evil. They make God the devil, and the devil they make God. And these are the highest Masons in the country. And I have their books, and how I got them, I can tell you that as well if you're interested. How I got some of the books that I couldn't get any other way. In any case, this stuff is evil. And I did read, but remember, I came from that world. I didn't read it now, because I'd read it before, many of the stuff. Of the little lower grades. I wasn't into the top grade stuff, which I got hold of later. I didn't read it to find out what is the devil's strategy and how does it all work. I didn't read it out of curiosity. I hated it. I loathed it. I said, God, show me that I can call people out of this darkness into your wonderful light. Don't you ever read it. It's disgusting. I have a different calling. I was called to do evangelism. And hundreds of Freemasons have been baptized because of this ministry. 36 in one campaign down in the south of your country alone. All over the world. People have come and thrown their Freemason regalia at our feet. All over. But I didn't have the link. I didn't have the link between Catholicism and the running of the secret societies. I didn't have the link. And I was lecturing in Germany. And I had the picture. I had all the pieces of the puzzle. They were coming together. And I had this piece and that piece and that piece. And I knew they had to link somewhere. And I said so in the lecture. They have to link. This is my early lectures. But I didn't have the links. And that night, everybody walks out of the hall, and I'm the last one. I'm always the last one out. People ask questions, and in those days, you still had to pack slides away. It wasn't like today. You close your computer, you put it in your bag, you're out of there. No. You give 2 lectures, you have the hundreds of slides to resort back into their place. And I was walking outside, and the others had been packing the van and were getting ready. The equipment was gone, and I walked down the passage. And as I walked down this passage, a hand grabbed me and pulled me into a closet. I thought, that's it, I'm dead. And the voice said to me, if you turn around and you see me, then you will die. And he said, what you said tonight is very dangerous, but what you said is true, but you don't have the proof. I have it. I'll give it to you, but if you see my face, you die. And then he said, tomorrow or the day after, I will contact you again, but you may not see me. So the next day, I walked past that door very apprehensively. Nothing happened. And I went down, and I was almost outside, and there was a room like a foyer, and the hand grabbed me from behind and pulled me in, and he said, don't turn. And he gave me a pile of books. And he said, now go out and don't look back. And he said, by the way, write down your fax number. I'll send you something if you promise to cut off the top of the fax and burn it. Because it always gives the number of where it was sent. If you promise to burn it, I'll send it to you. And then I left. And it was just a pile of books. And it had links between Catholicism and the secret societies. That's how it developed. Links between those. And I thought, whew, this is heavy stuff. And I started seeing the links and putting them together. And then one day I received a fax with all the bishops' lodge numbers and the lodges where they were. And I cut off the top and I burnt them because I promised. So I don't know who gave it to me. I don't know who the man was. It was scary. Then, when I started investigating the other things, the other secret writings, there are many things which Blavatsky writes. Now, our own people, never having grown up in the esoteric world, being so naive, bless their heart, would say, who the heck is Blavatsky? Wouldn't they say that? Who is she? And a few years ago, it was about 4 years ago, I really needed some quotes from Blavatsky, because Blavatsky says certain things about Bible translations, and Blavatsky said certain things about Seventh-day Adventists as being the only ones who might resist this world order. But if you get I have all Blavatsky's writings on a CD. Like you have an E.G. White CD, I can call all our writings up, but they're not all there. You don't get everything. And you can get the books, you can get them at Amazon, and you can get all the books and all the writings of Blavatsky, but not everything is in there. Only the inner circle has the actual books. I needed those books. And I remembered 4 years ago, and I remember I'm an Adventist now for 21 years already, I remembered the Sun Temple. And I said to my wife, they will have them. Nobody else has them. And so I prayed about it, and I said, okay, if I knock there and they open up for me, I'll just say who we are. But if I go by myself, they won't let me in. But if she comes along and I say, I'm here and this is the daughter of so-and-so, maybe they'll let me in. And that was like open sesame. They opened the door and he let me in. And I said, I want the books of Blavatsky. He said, you can't have them. You can't have them. But he showed me other books that he had, amongst others Bible concordances, esoteric Bible concordances, where they tell you that Lucifer is the true Son of God and everything in the Bible is reversed. And he also told me, now it's not the same channel because that one had died, it's another channel, and he told me that he trains the theologians of this world. That's interesting, isn't it? He trains the theologians. And then he told me he's the only one who has the complete writings in all their original glory. And I said, but I need them. I just wanted to find one or two things. He said, you can't have them. He asked me, what esoteric group do you belong to? I was in big trouble. I said, I don't belong to any. I only know what my father-in-law taught me. And so we chatted, and then finally I was about to leave, and then he said, I actually do have another copy, but you won't be able to use it because it's in a foreign language. And he went down and he fetched it, and he said, it's in German. As he says, my heart was strangely warmed. But I kept my pose and I said, oh, that's a pity. Well, perhaps I can use a dictionary, I said. I said, can I buy them from you? He said, you can't pay them. They're priceless. But at the end of the day, I walked out there with them. Just to show you how some of this information came about. And people knocking at my door in the middle of the night and saying, here's a book for you. You have it for 5 hours. I'm a high mason. If somebody sees this, me giving this to you, you're dead. This is our inner circle writing. That's how I got my information. Through miracles, absolute miracles. And it's been verified not by Joe Schmo and Joe Soap, but by police chiefs, secret society agents, the highest masons in countries. I'm talking about chairmen of the boards of Freemasonry who contacted and were willing to speak to me because in their heart of hearts they know there is a problem. So that's where the information comes from. If you hear otherwise, and conspiracy, consider whether it's conspiracy or whether it is verification of prophecy. Right, now.